Hey guys, Dragonfang Dan back here again. Uh, Got another episode of Local Card Store Bulk Box Treasures. Now, this time, found some interesting stuff. Not a whole lot of the really old kind of stuff, really, super vintage. Um, but I think you'll still be pretty excited to see what I got. There's a good amount from the early teens, and that's not a kind of era that we see a lot, not stuff that we think about. A lot of those sets really didn't have a lot going for them, but they were all unique and there's something different about each of them. And I think it's important to remember. And yeah, there's just a lot that I think we can take from these certain sets, and there's always some good art, even in the bulk. So let's get into it. Now, just searching through, one of the things I always pay attention to in the bulk boxes is starters. And I came across this Grookey um, from Sword and Shield base, which is 2019. Definitely not an old card, but I wasn't really collecting a whole lot when Sword and Shield base was around. That was during the COVID boom, I guess you would call it. And yeah, I just don't have a whole lot from Sword and Shield base. At least I don't think I collected a whole lot. I didn't even have this Grookey, so had to pick him up. And same with this Rillaboom. And yeah, again, this checks off a couple of the boxes I look for. Starter Pokemon, and it's a rare. So yeah, that's always something to look for when you're looking through bulk. Check for rares, because rares are quite often worth more than, you know, the 10-cent bulk box, which is something you want to keep in mind, because if you're picking up a bunch of cards for 10 cents, having a card worth, you know, 3 cents, 5 cents is just not something that's going to be a great outcome for you, but you know, you do you. So, speaking of which, cards that aren't worth a whole lot, got this interesting trainer supporter roller skater. I believe this is Cosmic Eclipse. Now, I was searching through with my daughter, and she would suggest a few cards here and there and say, "Daddy, you need to have this one." Kind of like this giant bomb from Unified Minds. I ended up grabbing a few of these just because they are unique. They don't appear in other sets, which I find very interesting, and it's one of those things. Yeah, I like to have a copy of a card that doesn't exist anywhere else. So then we go back to, I believe this is Team Up. Got a Dratini. I'm always looking for dragon types that I don't have, or dragon Pokemon that, if they aren't dragon types, still collect them. My daughter helped me find this one. Very nice, cute little Dratini. This is actually from one of my favorite artists, Koiki Saito. So, definite pickup for me, even if it's not a nice old find. All right, this one, going back a couple years to 2017, Guardians Rising. Now, the Beldum line, Metang, Metagross, definitely up there on some of my favorite Pokemon. So, had to grab this one. Definitely don't have much to do with Guardian Rising. Not a very old set, but not a very well loved set either. All right, now slipping back to Sun and Moon base. Got this cute little Caterpie. Always like to find some cards from the original 151. And here we go, Sun and Moon base. We got Torracat. Again, starter Pokemon. Always a worthwhile pickup in my eyes. All right, everybody's favorite set to hate, Steam Siege from 2016. One of the later sets in the XY era. This one is a nice art by the illustrator Sui, and it has a pretty typical look, kind of that very washed out colored pencil, a little bit foggy looking, maybe a little misty, very calm and relaxing, very typical. All right, and this one is Fates Collide. Got the Mega Catcher item. Now, I've been collecting Fates Collide cards for quite a while. I have, through collecting bulk and finding random cards at the card store, I've collected a very, very large portion of the cards in this set. And yeah, it's just kind of a fun little thing. Got to have our little goals, right? All right, then we've got Breakpoint. Saw this for through and just thought the art was pretty cool. The perspective on it, the kind of head on, but also sort of tilted. Very lot of motion going on in this card. All right, this is one that my daughter found for me. We've got a Bursting Balloon. Pretty sure this is a very unique card. I'm not sure it really exists in any other set or form. She found one and she's like, I love balloons. Daddy, you have one too, because she had found two of them. So I thought, you know what? Why not? All right, here we go. Starter box checked off. We've got this Quilava from Breakthrough, I believe. Grabbed a few cards from this set this time. It's kind of hard to see what's really going on, but looks pretty intense. All right. And so this is a card, Cresselia. Checks the rare box. My daughter found this card and she's like, oh, this is really cool. I said, wow. Yeah, I like that one too. I don't think I have that one. She goes, well, you better take it then. I said, all right, if you if you insist, I'll take this one. But yeah, you got Cresselia. Got a nice moon in the background, the lunar Pokemon. And looks like this is by the illustrator Kawayo. Very much don't believe my pronunciation of the illustrator names. Do my best on it, you know. All right, we've got Axew. Now there are also, in this same set, there's another Axew card. Axew with a bunch of berries. I'm not sure if it had collected them or what the deal is, but a bunch of, clearly this fruit. But then I believe the very next card is this one, where it is chopping them up and serving them. Looks like everybody's enjoying them. So it's kind of a two-part card series. I checked its evolutions and they didn't seem to have any connection to this. So that's kind of a fun one. I've been kind of keeping my eye out for this little guy. All right, and we have Illustrator Sui again, right there. Very foggy, kind of ethereal look to this Teddiursa. Might be the cutest Teddiursa on the planet. Nice little boy and girl playing with it. Teddiursa's just trying to help get the hat back. Nice little guy. All right, then we've got Ancient Origins. This set has really got some cool stuff going on in it. But this card, it's a rare, so grab that one up. They can be pretty hard to find. And we've got a fairy type. Fairy types were not around for too long, so I grab them up where I can. Didn't have this one. And just a nice little cottony there. Alright, then we move into Primal Clash. I found a nice bunch of these, and I don't normally go for Primal Clash, but it's a Ninetales. It's a rare, and it's illustrated by Kanako Io. And this card here is worth more than $1 when I looked it up. Now, I mean, obviously condition's going to play a role here. This card has definitely been loved. But, you know what? It's a good card, and it's definitely worth more than 10 cents. So, yeah, that's a win right there. Ninetales is not an easy card to find. All right, this one here, Electrike. Some people call them 3/4 arts. I believe they're also called Omega cards. Not really worth a whole lot, but super cool when you find them. Especially since the closest thing we have to them now, we've got V's and EXs, stuff like that. But this was just an uncommon in the set, and I think they certainly they tried something in this set, and I think it was really cool, even if it didn't stick around for very long. All right, and again, we got a nice little fairy type here. Mr. Mime looking at some very sparkly looking flowers. We got Yu-Gi-Oh levels of text on this card. One move with one word move and a million lines of text. That's pretty good. All right, we got a Vibrava. Got a nice little dragon card here. And this is the illustrator Yukiko Baba. Baba. Right there. You can figure that one out for yourself, I guess. It always has this kind of... this artist always does this texture to their cards. Always looks low quality printer to me. Like they don't have enough DPI going or something. I don't know. But always happy to add another dragon card. All right, then Phantom Forces 2014. This is the Gengar set. I've been thinking about grabbing more cards from this set just because a lot of them have a kind of a spooky feel to it. And I bet this is a route that could be identified. Not sure which game, but I can almost guarantee that that's a route. So it's a pretty cool card. I always like it when they incorporate video game scenes directly into the cards. All right, we've got a Murkrow this time. Not a whole lot to say about that. Murkrow flying around. Oh, and we got another dragon here. Goomy. Very nice. All right, then let's get back a little bit further here to Furious Fists. Combusken. Gotta always grab the starter Pokemon. And then, all right, we got an Electivire with a whole lot going on here. It says Illustrators Planeta. Now, I've seen this illustrator before, but I've never been totally certain if this illustrator is a human or if it's a computer company, an illustration company. But I just love the look of this. On top of being a rare, you got Electivire, and of course you got Magmar. They appear in a lot of cards together. We've also got a Slacking in the corner here. So there's just everything going on in this card. Alright, then we've got Flashfire. This is, of course, the Charizard set. And, of course, this is not a Charizard. This is a Metapod. Illustrated by Kawayo. Very intense. Hanging on a tree. What more could you want? It's a Metapod. Alright. Grabbed a couple from Flashfire. Just because it's a... Other than being the Charizard set, every other card is overlooked. But gotta give them some love too. And here we go. We got a rare. A Durant. Got that old steel type line pattern going on that makes it almost impossible to read anything. Can't hardly read the number of the card at the bottom. Can't read the text at the bottom. Glad they cleaned it up a little bit, though I feel like they could have done a little bit more to keep the feel. Right now they get mixed in with my normal types. Probably not the only one when I'm sorting cards. Alright, we got another dragon. Got a Sliggoo this time. Evolve our Goomy. This one, illustrated by 5-Band Graphics. Everybody's Favorite illustrator of V and EX cards. Now they're... could do without them, honestly. Let's bring in the artists. Alright, another 5-band Honedge here. This one's got a lot of good feel to it. But Honedge kind of lends itself to that. It's not really a great Pokemon to draw, as it's very angular and doesn't obviously have a lot of texture like fur or feathers. Alright, this is a very interesting card. Many people will not be able to get this set. This is an official set. It comes before XY base, which is where this Honedge came from. This Chespin comes from 2013. I think it's the last set of 2013, but the first set of XY. It was kind of a preview set, the Kalos starter set. 5-band Graphics did this card specifically. This is the set that introduced both XY and Fairy. Has no real rare cards in it. I mean, there are some holos mixed throughout it, but there's a lot of starters and a lot of the key Pokemon that you would find throughout this set, and it's just kind of like just a nice little preview, you know, before they had the 3-pack fun cards that you can get sometimes, but yeah, they tried something, you know, and they didn't do it again. I don't think this would sell very well. I think the rarest card might be a regular holographic Snorlax. And as you can see at the bottom here, we'll show you real close. There's no rarity. None of the cards have any rarity. They're just numbered. 39 of them, and that's it. All right, we're gonna step back to, I mean, this card is very well played. Legendary Treasures. Now, this set, I think, is quite infamous. Now, I obviously didn't find any of the big cards here, but we've got a nice little Sewaddle by Mitsuhiro Arita. Everybody's favorite. He's been around since the beginning. Legendary Treasures had 2 gold cards in it. I believe it was Reshiram and Zekrom. And it also featured a subset called the Radiant Collection. Got a nice dino here, and it's a dragon. And as you can see, once again, they changed the style on dragon cards. This one's very dark, can sometimes get mixed up with the dark type Pokemon. This one, here we go. This is getting into a lot of what I found this time. The Plasma series. This is from Plasma Blast. We've got a Karrablast here on this very interesting looking bridge. Lots of spikes and looks very chilly. That's by the artist Match. Don't know a whole lot about them. Plasma Blast had blue borders in some of its cards, as did most of the Plasma series, and shiny Pokemon. And I believe those were all gold border, very random cards. Some were legendary, some were very common. But they all had something kind of different going on for them, but all very similar. Very similar through Plasma Blast, Plasma Freeze, and Plasma Storm. Now this Drifloon, notice this bridge over here. We got this town with what looks like a cathedral. We got some more buildings scattered about. I'm sure that this is seen from the game, but I don't know a whole lot about the Black and White series. I think I very quickly played through some of those games on, let's say, non-traditional hardware. All right, then we've got, ooh, there's a sock. I have the throw that goes with this guy. You can see him right in the background there, busy training. This card is pretty beat, but it's the only one I could find. It's the only one I've run across. And always like to have the cards that match up and kind of complete the picture. Yeah, there's Iris now. That's another thing I always look for is like the main character trainer cards. I always just have a fun, nostalgic feel, if you will. All right, this one is Plasma Freeze down at the bottom here. As you can clearly see, everything is frozen around this Voltorb. He does not look happy, as if Voltorb ever looked happy. And we've got Lantern swimming underneath, looks like a sheet of broken ice. Plasma Freeze, very, very consistent with the ice theme. Even a dark type Pokemon like Sandile, who lives in a desert, is surrounded by ice. For as little sense as that makes. But almost every card in this set, I'm not going to say every card because I'm not 100% sure, but basically every card contains ice in some fashion. They really kept to their theme, and that's not something we see too often anymore. All right, 2012 now, we've got Plasma Storm. Now, we've got a very either lazy or chunky looking Fungus by Mitsuhiro Arita. One of those cards that you look at and go, that's a mood right there. Tag yourself, Fungus. All right. Got a nice little Litwick by Koiki Saito. Just a little guy enjoying the moonlight. And we've got a Scraggy. Somebody get that guy a belt. Another one by Koiki Saito. He's just hanging out. Alright. Then we move over to Boundaries Crossed. Still got shiny Pokemon in this set. Got a wide variety of things going on here. We've got, we got Voltorb. And I have next, we'll just show them at the same time, Electrode. Because they're both illustrated by Ken Sugimori. As fans may realize or remember that Ken Sugimori, kind of the father of Pokemon as far as illustrations go. Great artist. I don't know if anyone will ever accuse him of that, but he certainly knows how to draw Pokemon and then stick them into blurry scenery as if they're nothing but clip art. But it's always good to see art from Ken Sugimori. Very consistent. Once again, got another Ken Sugimori Tailo. Clip art Tailo. Sitting on a branch. Very real branch. Alright. Dark Explorers. With this absolute freak of a Pokemon. This looks like an actual location in some kind of Pokemon game. We've got some kind of bridge or pier right there. I would guess kind of a footbridge. Alright, found this rather interesting stadium card. Ryo Ueda. They're definitely have more art throughout the earlier years. Got Twist Mountain. I'm assuming this is some kind of location that you would run around in one of the Pokemon games. Alright, then we have... Oh, which one is this? Next Destinies, I think, with a Mienshao. Very dark. And the bridge that I pointed out earlier, I believe must be from Black and White, the Sky Arrow Bridge. Very neat little stadium card. Don't see any of those anymore. Alright. Now, Emerging Powers, I have quite a few of here from 2011. This is also from Arita. This rather round looking Darumaka. Now in Emerging Powers, this set, I believe there are only 2 full arts. There's a Thundurus and a Tornadus, and those are the only cards that anybody ever looks at. And we got this Panfor for reaching for some berries in this tree. Got a really nice look to it. Lots of sparkles. Just having a good time. Got a Venipede. We got this Volibee here. This is by the illustrator Sui. It's a pretty typical look for a card from Sui. Definitely a different feel to it. Then, got another Darumaka, this time from Black and White Base. Emerging Powers was 2011, and so is Black and White Base. Now, we get to some of the older, more interesting things here. Down to my last few cards. This is Heart Gold Soul Silver set called Triumphant. This card, Ryo Ueda, as I mentioned earlier. This set had great cards like the Prime cards, Legend cards, the 2-piece legendary ones. Love these very faded borders, as if you guys been watching for a while, you know I really love my Heart Gold Soul Silver era cards. Alright, this one, okay, Heart Gold Soul Silver 2010, Platinum Rising Rivals. Right here, we've got a Vibrava level 36. Very cool, from 2009. This set had a bunch of secret Pikachus. I believe there were at least 3 of them. Got this really neat looking Nuzleaf. Oh yeah, here we go. There's what we mentioned earlier. Yukiko Baba, the illustrator right there. Same kind of very textured color pencil look to this art. Our last card, nothing too incredible, but this is a 2007 Hoothoot level 7 from Diamond and Pearl Base. This set had such great things as the level X starters, Empoleon, Infernape, and Torterra. But this is just a little Hoothoot hopping through the snow. Illustrated by Midori Harada. So that'll end it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will be back with another episode of Local Card Store Bulk Box Treasures. Later.